Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Glass Can Challenge. Today is part 18, and if you're new here, rules are pretty simple. We have 1 HP, we're only allowed to use cannon launcher weapons, and we're playing in Master Mode. Now, some of you, frequent viewers, may notice something different about me here. I got a jetpack. So yesterday, or 2 days ago actually, I beat the Destroyer, which allowed this lady to come in, and we bought a jetpack. Pretty damn simple. I just butchered the intro, so that's the only reason why I didn't buy it on camera. But anywho, because I have the jetpack, I took off the balloon and the cloud to bottle and replaced it with this stuff. Now you might be wondering, aren't there any other accessories that would help me better than these two? No. These are the only things we've got. There's literally nothing else I could possibly need to boost my damage or mobility. A frog leg could be useful, but I'm not about to just fish a bunch. Plus, the jetpack, although it's horizontally, it's not amazing horizontally, and I'm pretty sure its flight time might even be a little worse than like Frozen Wings and stuff, but it's way easier to get, and also has this other perk where if you hold up, you can fly super fast. So that's super useful, but yeah, I burnt out right there. So it's not the best set of wings, but it will be better than what we had. But yeah, what I was trying to get at is there's nothing even I could really use. I could use a putrid scent, that would increase damage more, but like, I'm not about to kill a corruption mimic. I just need these for the modifiers, that's it. Like, there's nothing practical I could get there. Now, what is the plan for today? Because we just beat Destroyer, there's only a little bit of prep before I can do Skeletron Prime or the twins. Now, I'm not entirely sure which one I'm gonna do first, but I do know that there isn't even really much prep at all for us here. I just farmed a shit ton of money. Where's my piggy bank? I just farmed a shit ton of money before getting on, so we have more than enough to reforge, and I just moved the Goblin Tinker and Mechanic over here down to this house, which was previously the underground house, now that this one is corrupted. So the plan from here is literally just reforge our stuff, farm some bones, and then it's kind of just time to fight the twins. So I really don't have much else to do here. I don't plan on fighting either boss today because I haven't practiced them at all, and I think they're gonna need practice. But yeah, the plan, I got a nice talk done right before this recording, so stick around if you want to hear that, and it's basically just gonna be a time lapse of me farming stuff. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about these kind of videos, because there are some times where, I don't know, it feels like I'm making filler. When you upload every single day and you're like busy with school and shit like I am, I can't necessarily practice these fights and just like back to back to back, Skeletron today, twins the next day, Terraria the next day. Like, there needs to be some space between where I just build sick ass houses like this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, but this talk is fire. Stick around if you're interested in lifting and dieting and stuff like that, and I will see you all in the next one. All right, today's talk of the day is gonna be about why science is sometimes just stupid and shouldn't be taken as an objective truth. So, I got 3 points I wanna cover here today. First, I have them all written down too this time, so I'm not just rambling, which I tend to do. First, something may be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should just base your entire life around it. Second, just lifting and gear and stuff in general, all that conversation. And third, drugs are bad. So let's start with the first point here. You should not base your life around science necessarily. So what do I mean by that? Now, I'm gonna keep this one kind of short because I have talked about it previously. Diet is the perfect example of this, dude. People will hear something. Like, this is an argument I have with my brother probably like at least once a month, bro. He's like a big white rice fanatic because he's read like one thing about how white rice or brown rice has too much fiber to be digested and thus white rice is better for you. That's basically the summary of whatever thing he's got his information from. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know shit about fiber and how it impacts me whatsoever. All I know is that it can make like shitting harder or easier. Like, I don't care. I don't know how much fiber I have. I don't know how much fiber I need. I don't know if having excess fiber is a bad thing or if it's a good thing that you're like saturated with that shit. It's completely irrelevant to how I live my life. And I feel this way about so many, all the talk about vitamins and stuff and electrolytes. There are people who know about this stuff. Like, if you're an elite athlete, or if you're well educated about how your body feels and stuff, like Santa Cruz Medicinals is always talking about electrolytes and shit. It's just energy and all that. The average Joe like me, I like to think I'm pretty tapped into the space and I understand like what's healthy and what's not and stuff. I don't know shit about any of that. So it's hard to believe that people base their life around that when I know damn well they don't know anything about it either. Like, you should not be like shifting your diet around for like different vitamins and stuff that you don't even know if you need or not. That's as far as I'll go there, because otherwise that's just shit that just pisses me off, bro, because you dead ass have no idea what you're talking about. And like I said, there are exceptions. There are people who genuinely do know what they're talking about. There's people who are well researched and stuff, but like reading one article isn't enough, and you really don't know what your body needs and if it needs more of whatever or what anything. So let's move on to point 2, just lifting and gear and all that conversation in general. Let's start with genetics in big quotes, bro. Genetics is just the easiest cop-out excuse of all time for people who are on steroids, dude. Now this kind of goes deeper because there are a lot of people, obviously it's a huge deal where like everyone who's like an influencer, which is a stupid ass term by the way, but everybody who like influences people online on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, most of them are on steroids. Not everyone, obviously. Like there are a lot of people who base their career around being natural, like Jeff Nippard, obviously, and like Jesse James West, I'm pretty sure. Like those guys are obviously natural, but basically everyone else is on gear, and it's obviously a very common issue where so many of these people just lie, and it's absolutely insane that there are still in the big 25 that there are people who genuinely believe just the lies that are fed to them. And now I don't necessarily hate these people who do just blatantly lie, like Julian Fitzgerald. Bro, this dude's younger than me, has been training like just as long as me, and he's like bigger than people like Larry Wheels, bro, who's been training for like 15 years and genuinely has been like thought of as one of like the actual genetic freaks of the like whole lifting space, right? This dude is not he doesn't know. People talk about a myostatin deficiency. Like that's how they describe this dude. Like, oh, he is natural, he's just got a myostatin deficiency. I don't even know what to say. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like that's not a thing. That's sure, maybe a myostatin deficiency is an actual thing, but it's not gonna make you look like him. And like I said, I don't necessarily hate this dude. Like he's getting his bag, you know? Like he's got all the attention, he's got a bunch of money. But it comes with its consequences, bro. It comes with its consequences, because now you got a hate mob of people who genuinely do hate this person and do hate that he's kind of I don't want to say the easy way out, because steroids are not necessarily the easy way out, guys. Like you will look absolutely massive, but you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna feel like shit, and it's not good for you at all. It's horrible for you, obviously. And also, like, it's not gonna magically make you're not gonna turn into Julian Fitzgerald by just taking a bunch of steroids. You do have to actually train, and especially like the Olympias and stuff, like those guys train so unbelievably hard. Also, like just going to show how few people like it's weird that people still think this way. When I was in the swim locker room like 2 years ago, the conversation like Mr. Olympia and like people like Ronnie Coleman was brought up, and one of the freshmen there was genuinely shocked to find out that Ronnie Coleman was not natural, bro. And like all those Mr. Olympia guys, it's just, that's funny as hell, bro. People are just kind of uneducated about that, and it's not necessarily that people are dumb. It's just the fact of the matter is, like, people like me, I really follow a lot of the lifting space because I'm really interested in it. Obviously, I talk about it in like every other video. So obviously I would understand the stuff better, even though I'm not a goddamn scientist. I've never taken gear or anything. Wouldn't recommend anybody does. But I still just understand it more than the general population, which I'm comfortable saying that. So yeah, I'm not calling people dumb for not understanding, but this dude doesn't have a myostatin deficiency. Like, come on, that's stupid, bro. He's just taking a bunch of steroids, and he's getting a bunch of attention from it. I don't hate him for it, but like I said, it comes with its consequences. People are gonna hate you. So, all right, moving on to the last point, because I'm not trying to be rambling on forever here. drugs are bad, bro. You shouldn't take drugs. This kind of just, it's kind of a perfect segue from the whole steroids thing. Recently, I did, for a little bit, I did have the perspective that taking gear wasn't that bad if it's in moderation. That's completely shifted. Personally, I would never take gear, even though I did think that way, that it wasn't horrible. I've never even considered taking gear because that's not, part of it's health and stuff. Like, if you take gear, your mental shit is gonna be all out of whack, but that's not, I value my brain more than anything, bro. I don't want that, but that's just a rant. Yeah, so I used to have this perspective that if you take a little bit, it's fine because you will get super jacked, even just with a little bit, and you could, as long as you don't take too much like testosterone and shit, and like, bear in mind, I'm not a goddamn scientist, like I said, I don't know all the details of steroids and stuff, I just know the big terms. I know testosterone is like the most important thing, because that's the male not growth hormone, that's the male hormone that builds muscle, it's responsible for all that shit. Like, if you artificially inject some of that, you'll get super jacked for like 5 years, and then you could hop off of it, and your body would very likely start reproducing and stuff again. But that's what it all comes down to, man. If you take too much, like, your body's just gonna straight up, like, all those dopamine receptors and shit, and like the testosterone producing shit, like, they're gonna quit on you, bro. They're just gonna give up. They're gonna be like, oh, he's got plenty of this. Why do we need to do this? That's how the body works. Anything it produces, if you artificially inject that thing, the body's gonna stop allocating resources towards that. It's gonna stop producing it. And as soon as you hop off that supplementary freaking drug or whatever, it's gonna be like, I quit, bro. You're not gonna be able to rally them together, bro. Your body's gonna have to go knock on his door like goddamn the dude from Harry Potter, like the Mad Eye, bro. Like where Dumbledore went to his house and had to recruit him back to Hogwarts. Like, that's what your body's gotta do to the dopamine receptors and the freaking testicles that decide to just quit on you because you keep pumping a bunch of testosterone into your body, bro. That's so stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're gonna regret that for the rest of your life because it's gonna affect you for the rest of your life. You're just always gonna be relying on that shit. It's so stupid. Also, we gotta talk about Ozempic. This is a total conversation for this is a giant thing that I could just rant about for a different video, so I'm not gonna go too hard here. But even though Ozempic, as far as I'm aware, it's not like, I don't know how this thing works, but obviously it's like cutting down fat. It very likely does put in something that your body already produces, but something's different with it. Like, people don't necessarily have to maintain that, but they do, which I'll get to. Like, if you are sitting here watching this and you're like 350 pounds, which I'm not dissing you whatsoever, I just hope you lock in because you have the potential to have the craziest story. Like, I mentioned this before, I met someone who was 350 pounds and lost 200 pounds naturally in a year and a half. I've never done something that difficult in my entire life. I have so much respect for that dude. If he told me that he lost all that via Ozempic, I wouldn't hate him or anything. I'd just be like, oh, that's good for you, man. Like, you lost all that weight. But you're not cool. You're not cool for that, bro, because that's a shortcut. Let me explain why this is bad. Some people do that and just be like, well, he lost the weight, like he's healthier now. But you're not gaining any of the life lessons that you would gain otherwise by losing the weight naturally. That dude I talked to who lost 200 pounds in a year and a half, he was telling me so much stuff. He was informed. He very clearly was informed about his body. He was so knowledgeable about his body, and he was a health major, so that helped too. But he understood all the shit about fat cells and like all these lessons he learned, and he knows how to grind. That's the most important thing. He has that disciplinary base from losing 200 pounds where I'm confident if that dude sets his mind towards literally anything from this point forward, he will be able to accomplish it as long as he sets it as a priority, because he's proved that to himself, man. Like, not much is harder than losing weight, bro. Even though I've never lost weight, I can see, I've dieted before. It sucks ass. I've been on a cut. It's not fun, dude. And it's just like, you gain so much life knowledge and just such a solid disciplinary base that will literally help you for the rest of your life. Don't take Ozempic. It's the shortcut. It's the easy way out. Like, I wouldn't hate you. I wouldn't hate anyone who I met who did, but I just wouldn't think you're cool, and you're setting yourself up for failure, because guess what? if you do gain back that weight, which is likely because your fat cells just kind of shrink, as far as the dude I talked to, like, he was telling me how his fat cells shrink, so it's like it's easier to gain the weight back. I've talked about that previously. I don't want to butcher the definition anymore, or butcher the science or whatever. But if you do happen to gain back all that weight, you're not gonna be able to you're not gonna be able to just jump back at it. Like, you'll have to take more Ozempic, and you don't want to rely on that shit. Like, if you lose the weight naturally, you're very likely to not gain back all the weight because you know the process. You understand how to not gain weight without a drug, dude. Don't take drugs. Don't take gear. Don't blindly believe in every bit of science you read. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace. That was a fucking fire talk.